Hey guys, it's Spook with Fort Misery Gaming. I'm a little coffee today, so be aware of that. I will try to keep it to a minimum, but I'm sick. I mean, maybe, so, you know, forgive me. So at Sinoalice, the second set of spec banners has popped out. We did sort of miss the train on the first spec banners. Both of us have been very, very busy. If you're a minstrel, you should probably pull on those, but obviously you probably already have, so we'll move on to the second set of spec banners. So this is physical weapons, tomes, and staffs. So the first rate up for physical weapons is the Gluttonous God's Rod. 4,100 stats, kind of mediocre on the attack. It's a hammer, so it has potential to hit 2 people, and it increases physical attack, has a chance to increase your own physical attack by a small amount. It also has a tier 2 physical debuff. It's okay. I like, this isn't what you should be chasing for. Like, honestly, out of all 3 of these weapons, like the Deep Sea Sword we've already had in another banner. It was in the mermaid banner, if memory serves. Or it was either right at the mermaid or right before. So, it's got life leech on it. It does a bit of damage. This one's closer to usable. It's got almost 5k stats at level 80, so no limit breaking involved. It at least starts off at a decent basis. Like, 4,800 is about the threshold to consider a weapon. If it's much lower than that, you're not really giving yourself much of a benefit. So, it's got physical attack debuff, tier 2. Colo 8 skill's kind of crap. The sword itself is fine. Again, not a crazy chase. Like, if you are lacking swords, this one's okay. Oh, excuse me. And then you have the Sword of Burned Metal, which is pretty good. It starts at 5k flat stats, which is about where you want to see the better ones. Also, the art on this thing's actually really sweet. By the way, you can click on the art on the DB now, and it'll actually give you a flat look at the art, which is really, really cool. This style of sword is called a flamberge. It's French. So it's got flames of defense. So what it does is it deals great physical damage to one enemy and decreases their physical defense by a small amount. Not crazy good, but if you're trying to hit the same person, just steadily debuffing them is probably fine. But it has Dauntless Courage too, which is real good. So if you're sticking a breaker, this is a sword that you might want to throw a couple in on raid up to see if you can grab. So for this banner, breakers, probably worth throwing some coins in. Everybody else, like crushers, like the raid up hammer is just not worth it. Like, I know there aren't that many hammers floating around, so like if you really need to shore up, this is the time. But it's just not that good. It's okay. On the other side of that, the tomes, pretty good across the board. Hi, cat. So you have the Demonic Arm, which has some of the coolest art in here, and it has a little penguin on the book crease, which is very bizarre. I don't know if that's like an Adventure Time throwback, because it doesn't look like a penguin on the first book, but it looks like a little penguin on the second book. So you have a 1 to 2 target, great amount physical defense debuff. That by itself is probably worth considering. Physical defense debuff also has, so you're essentially, you have 2 shots at a physical debuff, or a physical def debuff. The stats on this suck. You've got 4,100, so this isn't your chase item. It's okay because of 2 targets, but like, and it's got a decent amount of the stat you're debuffing, so it's okay. But, oh man, it's not crazy good. However, Record of Humanity, Support Boon 2 by itself, almost always worth pulling. Also, it's got a tier 4 debuff on it, so while the stats are not great, the actual abilities on the weapon are crazy good. It's got a little wing on it. What does the first one have? It's got a little clock on it. So it's got reduced physical attack 1 by massive amount, tier 4, and it's got support boon 2. There aren't a ton of support boon tomes and support items floating around, so if you can pull on this one, it's pretty good. They're not amazing. Like, these are all, for the most part, 4K stats, which are not going to shoot you up in combat points that much, but combat points only really matter to DPS. Like, your items and the quality of your items as a support matter more than your actual power. Like, yeah, if you're at 70k, you're probably not going to be doing as good. But, like, there is a difference between, like, I'm really good, I can do things with 80k. Like, I'm at about 120, and I am buffing at the same rate that people 30 to 40k ahead of me are. And sometimes I get blown out of the water, and most of the time I am doing slightly more than the people ahead of me. So, like, the quality of your items is very, very important. But your overall rank does matter. Not as much for HP because, you're not getting hit, but it is what it is. Astronomy book, if you're chasing something. So, here's the thing. This is another one of those... You have to consider your guild to figure out if you want to do this. So it reduces... It's a 2-target magical defense reduction with support boon 2 and 5k stats. So the 5k stats by itself, probably fine, although you don't reduce... It's one of those weird items that has, like, way more attack on it than the stat you're actually debuffing, which is MDef. So I'm not really sure how to feel about it. Like, the stat distribution is kind of wonky on this one. The total stats are still pretty good for a support, though. So if you have a gunner or a couple of paladins, I would say that this is probably worth pulling. If you don't, probably skip it. Although, if you don't have support boon 2 books, you might want to sort of consider. Mostly because support boon 2 proccing makes pretty much all of your support effects that much better. On to staffs. You've got Risen Staff, which is 1 ally by a massive amount, has recovery support 2, 4k stats, it's a red staff. It's... Hello, kitten. Goodbye, kitten. It's okay. I'm not a huge fan of this staff. Like, a tier 4 is fine, but I would still rather have 2 mediocre heals than 1 really, really good one. Unless people are just ignoring your entire team. So, recovery support 2 is pretty good. Like, for an emergency staff, this one will probably slam like 10 to 12k if you have it maxed. So, not the worst. The downside being is that, like, staffs use defense to heal, and it does not have a whole lot of that. So, this is, like, one of those really, really wonky staffs. Deep Sea Staff, always pretty good. So, this one's got recovery support 2 and a chance to 2-target with almost 4 or 5k stats. Again, the stat distribution on these things are not great. Like, you have 741 physical defense, but you have 1,500 physical attack, so I don't know what to tell you. It is very weird. And then you have Corpse Staff, which is, you have a chance to heal 2, great amount, so it's tier 3, and you increase their magical attack by a small amount. It's not bad, not great. Fixed chance to moderately reduce SP consumption while executing commands. It's okay. But it's at 5k stats. Again, lopsided stats. Like, you have no defense on these things. So, if you are a breaker out of these spec banners, you might want to throw a pull or 2 in to see if you can get the burned metal sword. If you are a crusher, probably skip it. Sorcerers, if you are lacking support boon 2 items, these 2 are okay. The demonic arm is fine. It just doesn't... like, the chance to 2 target's good, but the the lack of stats on it kind of hurts. Like, being down 1,000 is pretty rough. Also, the stats match up on this one, except they don't. I think this is the one that was really weird. Yeah, you're debuffing physical defense, but it's only got 800 physical defense on it. So, like, the item doesn't even really benefit itself that much. Record of Humanity is decent. Like I said, support boon 2s are very, very strong in Colosseum. Like, being able to proc 1 or 2 of those to double or triple your efficiency really changes how you can buff and debuff. Astronomy book, same thing. Mag defense actually matches up a little better on this one, but not by much. Overall, if you are lacking L books as a sorcerer, I think this one's fine. Like, throw a couple in, see if you can snag one of these. Worst case scenario, you can pity a book by the end of the month if we get a decent one, or you can grab a Nightmare. Don't worry about this one too much. Like, I think sorcerers should probably pull on it, but like, you have to sort of take into account, if you already have like 6 or 7 L books, you could theoretically skip this. Wait for the pool to get a little larger and get like some more specific, decent spec books. Clerics, I lean towards skip on this one. You've got like 1 good staff in the 3 of them. And even then, not by crazy much. Like, the deep sea staff is fine, and the corpse staff is okay. The risen staff is not very good, though. You can't even put the stats that you're healing on the item. Like, that's such a crazy thing. So, like, unless you are really, really hurting for staves in general, I would say clerics probably skip this one. Obviously, if you are any of the other classes, don't pull on these unless you're trying to diversify. So, like, if you're a minstrel trying to go minsorc, the book banner might be worth a pull or 2. Otherwise, meh. So that's it. Tell us how your polls went. Like, comment, subscribe. Next week is going to be kind of jumpy for us. Fort is out of town, and I've got a couple of projects that are taking up a lot of time next week, so we will keep to at least a 1-a-day schedule as opposed to our double up. You may see a video or 2 hanging out from Fort in the middle of the week, but he is mostly on vacation this week, so everybody send their well wishes. Tell him, enjoy being out. And you guys have a good one.
Alright, so staffs, I would say, did get a nerf, simply because, like, on paper, those are all the same thing, but for some reason, on the global version, that Blessed Gospel 3 skill can be 2 targets, but it's not a guarantee like the JP version Staff of Incarnation is. So here on the JP version, we have Silver Grimoire, Replenish Magic 2, Curse of Jubilation 4, Innermost Secret, Support Boon 2, Curse of Rust 4, Support Boon 2, Incarnation Disenchantment. Astronomy book is going to be the same on both versions. Let's go up here. So we have Support Boon 2, Curse of Rust, same thing, Record of Humanity. I believe it is the same book. Is it? No, it is different. Okay. But basically the same, it has the same skills. 1381 Fizz, Attack, 917 Magic, 492 Defense, 734 Magic Defense. See if the stats are a big difference. They are a big difference, so the stats are definitely better on this. I believe that is a 17 cost book to a 16 cost book, so that is why. So definitely a difference there. On the JP version, you had Silver Grimoire, and then on the global version, you had Demonic Arm. Which definitely not as good, I believe. I guess for Replenish Magic, I guess neither one of them had support boons, so it's not a big deal. So, I mean, I wouldn't say it's a big nerf, but it is a little bit of a nerf for the book banner compared to the JP version. So I would say books is definitely a little bit of a nerf there. But the big nerf here, and I say the physical DPS banner is a straight up skip, as there is only 1 Dauntless Courage weapon in this whole physical banner. So you have Dauntless Courage, Flames of Defense, and the Flames of Defense is not a mass multiplier. That is going to be, I believe that is your Life Leech. Oh no, it is actually good. It's physical damage to one enemy and decrease their physical defense by a small amount. So that is good. And it's 5,054 level 80 stats. So that is actually super strong. There. And I don't know why when I hit back it wants to do that. It always wants to switch the version for some reason. Deep Sea Sword you have there, and then instead that should have been the Hammer, Great Sword of Kinship, which wouldn't have been Dauntless Courage 2 Sword, but, or I'm sorry, we would have had Dauntless, that would have been Golden Sword spot. Dauntless Courage 2, Flames of Assault 3, we click on Flames of Assault, great physical damage, and increase own physical attack by small amounts. This would have been absolutely, probably worth pulling for, to have access to 2 Flame Dauntless Courage 2 weapons, and then 1 with a physical defense debuff, and then 1 with a physical attack buff. This sword would have been crazy. Even though it's less stats, it's like probably more on stat par wise of what Global currently has, but the big thing here is that you had that physical buff on your main skill, which was absolutely nuts. So definitely the JP version was immensely better than the Global version. So let's go back down to the Global version again. And then you have the Great Hammer of Kinship, which has physical debuff 2, Inferno of Assault 3, 1383 attack. You have 1171 here, 1619 here. Obviously that's going to be the same. 1619. 1329. I think stat-wise Deep Sea Sword like compares. It's just ability-wise, it's so bad in comparison. I actually pulled 2 copies of this on random banners already. So this is, I'm definitely not pulling. There's no reason at all to pull on this. And I believe the hammer is about the same. They both have the target of the 2 enemies, and they both have physical debuff, I believe. Yeah, so that's pretty much all the banner differences. So overall, there is a lot of changes in these banners. Some were about the same. There was like 1 or 2 that were maybe better, and then there was obviously the DPS ones were a significant decrease in my opinion for overall everything. So I just wanted to throw this in here at the end of the video. So if you guys did enjoy Spoots and my coverage on the spec banners from this month, let me know all that and more in the comment section down below, guys. If you guys did like today's content, make sure you guys drop a like so we know you guys are liking what we're doing here with Sinoalice. And hit that subscribe button and ring that bell for future notifications so you not miss the next upload here on the channel. Thank you guys so much once again for watching. I'll see you guys all in the next one. Be safe. Have an awesome weekend, guys. Talk to you later.